Welcome adventurers to Greentext Lootbox Random Tales 1. Enjoy. This kid is going places by 2 full Bart. BDM. Player brings kid to game. Asks if kid can learn how to play D&D with us for a bit. I agree, but only if kid behaves. Game starts, and I have the kid sitting next to me, his mother on his other side. Kid and I are the only ones who can see behind the screen. I run the game as normal, explaining the rules to the kid as we go along. When basics are explained, give kid an NPC to talk to the group with. Kid is awkward at roleplay, but does good job. Everyone plays along, except for that guy. Edgy rogue tries to choke guard in broad daylight, to make things move faster. Fails miserably, resulting in squad of guardsmen in guardhouse coming out. Fighting ensues. Give kid control of guard captain. Gives orders to his men, and proceeds to tactics the shit out of the party. Party leader tries to talk things down, explains what happened. I'm about to let them all off with a fine, but kid sees my notes, and announces that assaulting an officer is punishable by death. Points to that guy, says only he needs to die. Childishly evil smile.jpg. My face when I can blame the death of a PC I've been trying to kill on a kid. My face when that guy rage quits game, and we replace him with kid. My face when kid makes a minimum/maximum wizard build. Best way to play CE by Zevelli. Okay everyone buckle up, and I'll tell you the tale of the best magnificent bastard I've ever played. Not Greentext because it doesn't work well in that format. Now obligatory explanation, because I know some of the comments I'll get, but I don't adhere to strict personality definitions of alignment. My attitude is that, if you've cast your lot and loyalties in with an extraplanetary entity then that's your alignment. So when I was playing a human warlock who had obtained his powers from the demon lord of war, and dedicated myself to furthering his goals, by spreading mayhem and violence I by definition became chaotic evil. Now, upon hearing my character concept the DM was concerned, but ultimately decided to allow it, and monitor the situation. I figured that it was, because generally CE spellcasters will burn down campaigns faster than you can say wow this is a really nice town I can tell you've spent a lot of time handcrafting this world DM. I quickly found out that this was not the case, and that the actual reason was that the plot that the DM had come up with was that a cult who, by sheer coincidence, worshipped the demon lord of war, aka my patron, were creating an uprising to try and destroy the kingdom in which we were based out of. So when the king gave us a sealed letter to send to the king of the elves, the DM was wondering what I would do. When I did nothing out of the ordinary I was approached by one of my brothers in a dark tavern. The Lord of Slaughter wishes you to burn those documents. I looked across the table at my fellow cultist. Do you think my companions will not notice that the document has been lost? Not to worry, a forgery has been prepared. It is too risky to make the switch here. I will contact you when I have reached the Elven capital. So we continue to the Elven capital and the paladin of course demands we go straight to the king's throne room. We deliver the letter, but I ask to speak to the king in private. Your Majesty, I feel you should know. I was approached by a man claiming to be a servant of the demonic Lord of War and Slaughter. He asked me to destroy the letter from the human king and replace it with a forgery. I do not know if he approached any of my companions, nor if some other agent may have unknowingly switched the letter. Now at this point the DM was taken aback. He knew that no one else had been approached, and was wondering what my plan was. After a quick roll, he decided to tell me that the Elven King was grateful for my warning, but he could not see how the Demon Lord of War would benefit from having the Elven army move to reinforce the human army. It could be a ploy, Your Majesty. How would you react if you had sent a letter for some matter of state to a neighbor and suddenly several battalions of their knights started marching on your borders? The DM blinked. A valid point, human. Go and find out the validity of the statement. So after sending a message to the cult that essentially boiled down to slight miscalculation on my part, didn't have a chance to contact you before being whisked away to the Elven King. Trying to salvage the situation praise unto the Lord of Slaughter. We returned back to the castle to the human king and told him that we had delivered the letter. I informed him and a few of the lords in his inner council that the Elven King doubted the validity of the king's letter and had asked me to provide him information on the position and movement of the kingdom's troops. And now the DM was a little talked. The game continued in this vein. We'd be sent out to stop the cult's activities and garner support for the budding alliance against the Demon Lord. And I'd tell half-truths and lies by a mission to make everyone seem suspicious of the new alliance. Just sowing malice and discontent, but earnestly working towards preventing the summoning of the demon army. Finally we reach the end game. By this point about half the group has figured out who my patron is and is thinking that I'm a double or triple agent. The other half just think I'm an arsehole. Technically neither are wrong. So there we are, face to face with the cultists who opens the gate, and there is an army of demons, and the Lord of Slaughter himself. He sees me, and calls to me by name. Why do you oppose me who has granted you such power? My lord, I do not oppose you. When you enter this realm, and deliver your terrible vengeance upon the mortal worlds, inevitably the gods of light and good will rally their own forces to this realm to oppose you, and whether victorious or defeated, the conniving devils and the weaker demons will try to take advantage of your tired forces and dethrone you. It was for that reason and that reason, only that I sought to prevent your summoning, and attempted to thwart my brother's plans. But look, I have caused the nations to unite in a tenuous peace held together merely by the threat of your assault. It will not last past your return to hell, as they will see the treaties and agreements as their neighbors taking advantage of the situation for their own benefit. It will sow discord and malcontent, and within a few generations the factions that have already begun to spring up in the alliance will snap, and a great and terrible war will break out across the continent, and the forces of heaven will not intervene, because it is by the choice of man, and not influence of demons that they war. After a few moments the DM declared that the Lord of Slaughter decided to give my schemes a chance to come to fruition and just decided to go home. In the epilogue the peace lasted 3 months and my character was deified by the Lord of Slaughter. The gunpowder plot by all cool names gone. Party gets wind of rebels trying to blow up the town from below with a fuckload of gunpowder. Try to stalk a few rebels carrying a powder cask into the sewers. Follow them until they get to a room with a huge stack of barrels, presumably full of gunpowder. One rebel is being berated by the others for trying to light a torch. Party springs into action. 2 rebels fire crossbows and duck behind the barrels for cover. Cleric casts burning hands on the barrels, so they can't use them for cover. Cleric affirms with the DM that yes, he is indeed sure. 3 fucking times. Cleric is confused why everyone has to make a dex save. Cleric doesn't understand why the DM just rolled every d6 in existence at the same time. Cleric thinks it's the DM's fault that everyone has to roll new characters. Cleric can't seem to figure out why everyone is angry with him. 19 wisdom ladies and gentlemen, 19 wisdom. A whole new level of group railroading by Twofull Bard. After going through a high fantasy campaign, we want to do something space sci-fi. DM gets busy because he wants to do a part 2 for the fantasy campaign. We eventually get him to agree, but on the condition we use Shadowrun. We are the crew of the QS Calnus, assigned to help colonize far-off planets by escorting people and helping with stuff on the ground. First wormhole jump goes fine. We land on the planet and begin to set up the base. Local insectoid life forms attack us, but they are no match for chainsaw arms and shotgun dicks. We scout out the local area the following day, gooifying more bugs as we go. We meet a non-feral insect lady who explains we've been killing their escaped cattle. Entire group takes a moment to decide how we should make first impressions with this native. Toss a coin. Heads, Imperium of Man style exterminatus. Tails, Captain Kirk style seduction. DM gets busy that we try to seduce the bug before bringing her back with us. When we get back, the base is destroyed and our ship is busted. How this could have happened in the span of 4 hours without any radio contact is beyond us. We are stranded and have no way to contact Earth now. Bug Girl offers to take us to nearby civilization where there are others like you people. The city is a big, stone-walled place filled with all kinds of fantasy races, with arsehole elves ruling. It's here that we are introduced to magic, and it turns out one of us, the guy with high charisma, is apparently really attuned to it, as if he's some kind of druid. Meanwhile the keyboard whiz kid finds a book of magic, and he's pretty good with it, could become a wizard, since there's no tech to hack. It takes us about 15 minutes to realize that the DM was shoehorning us back into the fantasy campaign he wanted to run. We go full Imperium of mankind and die in a blaze of glory at this alien atrocity before leaving him and starting our own group. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to give the creators of these posts a big fat upvote. Links are in the description.